Hello, how are we doing?
Good, thank you. Nice to meet you.
You as well, yeah. Binocular Panic. Yeah. Um,
Racing, yeah. Sounds great.
cool. So this film, yeah, I've watched it, obviously. But before we get into that, I just want to ask you a couple of sort of starter questions, really. So I think it's always interesting to find out where film interest comes from. So, like, as a kid growing up, what what did films mean to you? What films stood out to you, or actors, or and what got you into it ultimately?
Oh wow. I guess I started watching like kind of series with my moms, which were probably not age appropriate, but like I used to watch like Desperate Housewives and King of the Hill and that kind of
Oh,
stuff. Um, and that kind of made me realize that I would love to make films. Um, so it really came from that kind of yeah, watching those shows.
King of the Hill. I like King of the Hill. I used to watch that as well. Um,
Yeah, it's
and,
great.
and when did you decide? When did you go to college? Did you decide this is what I want to do? And how tricky or how easy has it been to achieve like where you've come so far? How did you get into the film field?
Yeah, so I'm originally from France. So I grew up in Paris, and I knew I wanted to make films like really early on. Kind of that cliche answer of like, oh, I was 15 and I was making shorts, which were
Mm.
bad, but yeah, I was making them, and I kind of also knew that I wanted to come to the UK. Because I wanted to make comedies, and I didn't feel like in France at the time there was much of a much space for like female led and female written comedies. So I just I applied to like uni here, came on a loan, still paying that back. But came here at 18, and since then, so I graduated in 2023. And since then, I've been trying to make films. Obviously, um, with not a lot of funding. So Binocular was made with um, about like £400
Wow.
um, to really just try to make things, even though we don't have like a crazy amount of like funding here.
Yeah, that is tricky. I know there was. It's funny you say that about France because I know in this, and it's helped this festival a lot over the years. There's a H264 Distribution was a company in Canada
Mm.
that produce some really excellent French language films, but they don't distribute short films anymore, which is really tragic. So
Okay.
the space for short films, as you say, it must be tricky because people want to see features, don't they? And I
Mm.
just think there's a space for short films. I think there isn't physically a space, but I wish there were because some of them are so brilliant. I mean, your short film, tell us about like writing it and coming up with it, and how did you get it off the ground?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's I think I kind of started it backwards in the sense of like I knew I didn't have much money, so I was like, okay, what's a free location? What's outside so that I don't have to use lighting? It was all shot with like natural light. So I was like, okay, a park, and then oh, what could happen in a park? Um, and then obviously it's inspired by kind of like teenage girls growing up, like my experience of like having to always have like a crush, and like that's kind of not the only thing that we talk about, but like a lot of it is about that, and it's also very like obviously heteronormative, so there's not never really like the question of oh okay maybe I could have a crush on someone that's different.
Yeah.
um so it definitely came to that, and then the way it kind of got off the ground was just I asked my friend to produce it, who said yes. Although they're not like an actual producer. And then just talking to the DP and was like, okay, do you want to shoot that in a day? Um, yes. And then we kind of did it. It was a really like simple setup, simple project in a way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Sorry, I don't know if that responded to your question.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, did you write the scripts by yourself? And was it sort of inspired by anything personal or anything else?
Yeah, so I wrote it by myself, and then obviously it's not really inspired by anything specific, but I think definitely so my experience, and then just like influences of, yeah, like other films that have those kind of female friendships, and kind of tone as well.
Do you think you were saying something about like the big thing is the male gaze? Do you think you were like reversing that a little bit and perhaps having, well, women are allowed to look as well, you know? Is there some of that in your film?
Oh yes, absolutely. I think it's definitely about that, and it's also very inspired by like 2000s American kind of rom-coms, um, that are always about like boy meets girl, in very awkward places, in very like just not realistic or like ways, but trying to kind of divert that. I think definitely like the slow mo sequences are very much like very cliche in that way, and we're really trying to like go as much as possible in that direction, but obviously in a very ironic way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was going to ask about that. How would like the camera perspective of some of the different styles? Were you like obviously you've kind of answered it, but you were paying homage to all those films that do that, that you know, you get their perspective. This and we sort of see in slow motion, don't we? I suppose in a sense when something like that's happening. Did you want your audience to like more to be amused then, or did you also want them to think about things like well sexuality or what we assume by it or the way we see things? Did you want to get a bit of both in there, but still make them laugh?
I think definitely both. I think it's I also wanted to make like a sort of like queer awakening film that's not dramatic, because we have that a lot in queer cinema where it's quite dramatic and quite sad and with a like not necessarily a happy ending. And I kind of just wanted to make it like a fun, like sunny story which has a good ending where I mean you don't know actually what happens, but you can imagine that it'll be a good like beginning of a maybe a love story or something. So I think it was definitely that kind of comedic aspect, but also just trying to make like a positive representation film.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was funny generally, but as soon as the chap came onto the and they said they were bird watching and started making the bird noises, you know, it became like a classic comedy at that point, and it was funny. And then it turns out he was into birds as well, so you almost like kept flipping the stereotype, which was clever. Was that like intentional? Is that based on other films and other experiences?
I think definitely. I think the idea of the birds was I kind of wanted to play on the word of like bird, and how bird can also mean like woman,
Mm.
um, in some way, and to kind of be like, oh, okay, we're watching birds, but also just the sheer absurdity of it, of like
Yeah.
obviously they're not watching birds, and maybe he's not into them. I don't know. But yeah, just trying to like keep people on their feet, I guess.
Yeah, it was funny because you thought that he would be the big caught. It's embarrassing. Oh, it's cringy. Oh, but then he's like, oh yeah, and then he starts quoting these like classic birds, and they're like, oh okay, and then they're sort of taken aback. I like that. It was funny. I suppose I'm going to ask about the setting, but you've told me that, and also you said natural light, but it also seemed like it was intentional that you wanted this not quite a dreamlike thing, but almost this very vibrant, not quite animated. You know, so I think you just got lucky there, but you must have had that in mind when you wanted this story. You didn't want it to be raining, obviously, or did you just pick the right day?
I mean, yeah, and it was difficult in the UK because I think it was very cold on that day actually,
Oh,
and
right.
we did
Oh,
have sun, but I think a lot of it comes down to grading, and the grader really did an amazing job of like bringing out the colors, and obviously we worked on like the costumes and like the color palette quite a lot, but I think in the end it does come down to the grade. But yeah, the idea was to have this kind of like teenage summer day where you don't really know what you're doing, you don't really have anything to do, so you're just okay going to the park with your friends, and then yeah, something can happen.
yeah,
um,
definitely.
yeah.
And how did you cast well, the two girls mainly, but generally, how did you cast and what is it you were looking for specifically?
Yeah, so the main girl, so the one that's with the blue top, she's my best friend from Paris. So we work together quite a lot. She's in a lot of my like other films. So she did audition as well, but it was
Yeah.
yeah, she was really good at it. And then Lucy, the other girl with the red top, we got from like a casting website, and she was just really good when we auditioned her. And I think her hair actually works quite well. Like we weren't necessarily looking for like a physical look, but more for like an energy of this very like kind of like overly sexual, but probably not that active teenager who's just like talking a lot about things that she probably doesn't understand. And I think that actually, yeah, her hair really like worked in that kind of vibrant energy as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you do like rehearsals and everything like that, or did you just shoot it in one day? Was there a lot of planning involved?
It wasn't that much planning. We shot it all in one day. I think we had like one Zoom rehearsal where they met. But it was really a simple, very quite long day, but quite simple.
Long day for for a short film, yeah. So I suppose going forward, what do you do next? Do you want to continue writing, directing? Is there another part of film you would like to do? And do you have anything coming up? Have you written anything else?
Yeah. So yes, I want to write and direct for forever, I guess. Yeah, as my job. I directed a short that Albertine, so the main actress, wrote, which is kind of in post production, and then now I'm working on another short that I'm writing and that hopefully will be directing, which is another comedy, but this time it's about double eyelid surgery and how this young girl who's like adopted, but from comes like from an Asian background, kind of is convinced that she has to get double eyelid surgery to become a famous movie star. So it's about like plastic surgery, but also just like acceptance and sisterhood, that kind of stuff.
So you think is comedy your like forte? Is that what you want to do, comedy wise? You want to make people laugh?
I hope so. I hope it works. Yeah, I think it's quite funny because we've screened the film in like quite a few places now, which were very like different from each other. Like some places that were like very rural, and others like London, and it's like the response is very different.
Oh,
And I think some people find it really funny, and some people not at all. So
yeah.
it's quite good to see like the kind of target audience and that kind of stuff. But yes, I want to make comedies and hopefully make some people laugh.
I do. Oh, this is a strange question, but I suppose with reactions like that, do you take it personally if people don't find your film funny, even if maybe they get something else from it, or are you just like, well, I'll try harder next time, or are you not bothered about that?
I think on the spot it's a little bit like you're like, oh, okay, why didn't they laugh? But I
Mhm.
think it's gonna be like that with comedy anyways, because people have so like people have different like types of humor, and you can like you can see that even like culturally, which I think for me was I think the biggest thing, because obviously I'm from France and I've only been living in the UK for 5 years, so I'm kind of like, oh, does this humor travel? Is like does this make like British people laugh or that kind of stuff? But I think you kind of find your niche of people that do find it funny and that can relate, and then you start like just writing for them, and you know that well this isn't going to be for like your average
Yeah.
um yeah person.
Because the festival's kind of centered around female filmmakers, I just wondered if you had an opinion on that, how perhaps it's changed. I don't know how much you follow film generally, whether you see it's changed the coverage of females, more females out there, or but also in yourself, have you struggled through your studies and seen like more men in class? And has there been any struggles there? And is there anything you think you've overcome in that sense? So I know you're only young, but you've still probably experienced quite a bit of that.
Yeah, of course. I think industry wise, I think it's changing a little bit, like very slowly. I mean, you can just see like the numbers at like major festivals and that kind of stuff.
Mm.
But I think we're still struggling, especially in comedy, to have women writing and directing, and just we're not allowed to be funny, basically, and people aren't like, I guess, giving us the means to try. So I think in comedy it's quite bad, but we're here to change it. And then in terms of my personal struggles, I like in film school I didn't really struggle because there's usually more women in film courses than men, but then in the industry obviously it's flipped.
Yeah.
So I think that was good also because it kind of gave me I started like kind of trying to work with women as much as possible, and I think it does make a big difference, especially if your DP is female or women identifying or even gender non-conforming, or your producer, or like if you kind of surround yourself with I guess non-cis male people, it get a bit easier. Obviously I'm not putting everyone in the same it depends on the relationship, but yeah, it is quite special, and I think that's great.
Yeah, because obviously this is I run this festival, so because I'm a man, it's sometimes I don't get any challenges. I don't get in the early days. I used to get a couple of people would say, "Well, why are we giving female the platform?" It just wanted time to shut up. It's basically it's just ridiculous. But I don't do this for me. I just do this for like people like yourself, up and coming filmmakers, established filmmakers, and I wish we could do more of it, but it's once a year. But yeah, this is our 10th year, so just want to say thank you for being part of it. Looking forward to screening your film. Hopefully they will laugh. If they don't, that's their problem. But yeah, and I'm also looking forward to seeing what you do next, really, because you've got quite vibrant talent there. It'd be nice to see what other things you do, and it's nice to see. There's a lot of dark films out there. There's a lot of sinister films, and we all have our, but it's nice sometimes to see something a little bit funny, like coming of age type of thing, So, thank you for submitting it. What I'll say.
Absolutely.
As I say, we'll send you some details. There's going to be a review for Filmotomy, which is my site, and then the festival. I've launched a festival site as well, which I think you might have seen. But so you're going to get 2 reviews of your film as well. And you're in competition as well, I believe. So that means you've got 9 jury members locked away somewhere watching all these films. And I can't tell you what they think, but yeah, it's great. It's going to be fun, but it's getting people talking about these films, and I think that's the thing I take most from it. The community that we build. I've got a lot of volunteers this year. It's the biggest festival I've done by quite a distance, so hopefully it's going to be amazing. So yeah, thank you for being part of it. Really,
thank you so much for your work.
Yeah. So we'll be in touch, but yeah, lovely speaking to you, and I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.